Welcome, Darklings, to Season 3 of the Reign of Blood podcast. I'm Ember, one of your hosts, here to introduce you to the shadowy depths of what hopes to be our most sinister season yet. This season, your unholy trinity of organizers and hosts, Miss Kitten, Radically Dark, and myself, have entirely way too much fun with the Summer of Stabs, our 80s horror-themed series that promises to be both educational and thrilling. Our aim is to explore the macabre beauty that lies in the shadowed, or maybe not so shadowed, spaces of desire. Leading up to Reign of Blood Nightfall, our advanced Halloween extravaganza, we'll be discussing topics such as embodied and informed consent, risk mitigation, and other helpful tips, ensuring that every prick, slice, and puncture is as thought through as it is sensational for you. We'll also continue interviewing sharps enthusiasts from around the world to find out what makes the blood-loving heart tick. And maybe we'll talk Miss K into recording some more horror meditations for us. Join us as we explore the eerie, the edgy, and the exquisitely sharp. This is Reign of Blood, where the macabre meets the magnificent, and the only limit is your imagination, risk profile, and informed consent. Let the Summer of Stabs begin. But first, a content warning. This podcast is not suited for individuals who are not legal adults, are not interested in heavier BDSM practices, who are presently having severe mental or relationship health concerns, or who do not already understand basic BDSM practices regarding consent, ethics, risk mitigation, etc. Topics may include things like mental health issues, social issues, injustice, blood and sharks, of course, medical trauma, medical issues, trauma of various types, and more. Listener discretion is heavily advised. Welcome back, listeners. I am going down under today. I don't believe I have gotten a chance to interview any of our Australian guests. So this is the first time I've had the opportunity. So with me today is Bloodybloodslut from Australia, and I am super excited to be talking to them. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit to our listeners today?
How would I introduce myself? I say bloody blood slut several times very fast, and I'm pretty sure you summoned me. Or when I'm asleep trying to log into Fair, it comes up Bloofy Bloof slut. And I think that's my personal favorite, Bloofy Bloofy. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm Bloofy. But yeah, I'm a sadomasochist, with more says leanings, but trying to bottom more regularly now, which I'm really enjoying getting back into it. So a bit of a switch, but very fussy switch at that. So, and I call myself a socially awkward potato because potatoes are awkward. No, they're not awkward. Sorry, they're how to describe versatile. And I think my kink journey's been very versatile in what I've done. So yeah, that's me.
I love it. So you were telling me a little bit, you had mentioned my Zoom profile photo, and you were telling me a little bit about latex and just kind of how you enjoy others' perceptions of your blood play, and your sharps play. Can you tell me a little bit more about the way that people react when you go out and when you play, and kind of what other people's reactions have been to your sharps, and the type of play that you engage in?
Yeah, so I do predominantly a lot of, well, I used to, I should say, because I don't do it as much now, but I used to do a lot of self stabs, and it's very visceral and it's very in your face. It's either something that people get a little bit squicked out about because it's like, oh, you're doing that to yourself. Holy shit. It's the thing because I use skewers on myself and I use large hooks. And one of the skewers things I've done to somebody else, because I had this weird dream that I put skewers through someone's butt cheeks and I wanted to spank them until they bleed. And I spoke to one of my dear friends who is also on FetLife, and I said to her, "Hey, this is my idea. What do you think?" And she's like, "Oh my God, yes." Now, anyone that knows me knows I don't do latex. I don't dress up because I'm a comfort person. I'm like, if I'm going to be bending over a massage table, there's no way in hell I'm dressing up for the occasion. I'm so sorry.
Same, friend, same.
It's just like, I don't want to be sweaty and sweating on top of my bottom. I've had someone do that to me before and it was gross. It's like, I'm not into, like, I don't mind people being sweaty, but not on top of me. So it's like, ugh, gross, yuck.
Mm-mm.
And went to this particular club and had a latex dress sort of thing that I was given, and went in. The latex boys, now there's a whole bunch of them in Melbourne and they love shining people up, and they're like, come on, over to me, can we shine you? I'm like, No, I already feel like the Michelin man, don't need to feel any more. Sort of uncomfortable. Saw my friend, so we had two guys come over. It's like, oh, you guys gonna play? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh my God, that's gonna be so hot. And you can see in their faces that this is not what they've signed up for. So they start seeing the skewers go in, and you can see the faces going a little bit green. You're like, okay, yeah, you're going to vomit. Great. Not into that, but not shaming you. Got it on stage and it was all good, all fine, dandy. They're watching. Can we wank over you? Can we masturbate? And we're like, yeah, sure, of course you can. Knowing full well what we're doing. As soon as the blood started coming forward, because it was quite a fair bit of blood, because it was in her ass and it was quite deep. Yeah, we turned around, they weren't there anymore. We don't know
Bless
why,
their hearts.
but we think they might have been just I don't know if you have it where you are. We call them tourists when they come in,
Hmm.
and because this venue allows sex on premises, we
Hmm.
get a lot of the swingers come in as well. So
Mm.
we just don't think they're aware of what they're actually signing up for.
Yeah. Ah,
And
bless their hearts.
like you look at them and you're like, oh, like I said to one other time, I said, so what sort of things are you into? He's like, oh, well, I like anal, I like smacking your ass while we're going at it. I'm like, oh, that's so kinky. Oh my God. How do you, oh. And unfortunately, I'm a very sarcastic person. For people that don't know me, think I'm being quite serious. And yeah, he didn't last very long near me because I started doing skewers and he's just gone, why are you doing that? I'm like, because the voices in my head are telling me to keep going. And he's just gone, I need to go now. I'm like, yeah, you better, because it's going to get really messy very, very quickly. So,
Oh, poor things.
so yeah, so I used to
I'm
do a lot of
sure
self-subs.
that's awesome. A lot of, I really enjoy self stabs and just the process of self stabbing. Though I also find it really daunting to self stab in public, in large part because of the reactions that you're describing, just the really visceral kind of like, I don't know, pushback that people
Oh,
sometimes
definitely.
give.
Like you get a lot of people that liken it to self-harm
Hmm.
because you're doing something that is making you bleed. So there's that fine line that I've found that you have to be able to have that much self-control to know when to stop. And it's hard, especially if you get that bit of a play high out of it,
Hmm.
knowing when to stop. And my mentor, he was showing me how to do sutures on my leg. And he said, I'll do one leg, you do the other, because that's what we've been given two legs for. I was like, oh yeah, good idea. He was laughing at me because I was getting so frustrated because I was play high trying to suture. And he was laughing his ass off, thinking it was hilarious. I'm like, I can't do it. Why can't I do it? Yeah, not very smart. Not my finest.
Oh. So tell me a little bit more about your journey into sharps and what that has looked like what brought you into sharps, what have been some major milestones for you.
Oh wow. So I initially wasn't into kink at all. Had no interest, didn't want to do anything remotely kinky. Like if anyone like smacked me on the bum. I was like, oh, no, don't do it. Don't like it. Don't like it. And had the, I don't want to say misfortune, but I don't want to say fortune. So I'll just say the experience, I guess. Coming in, I thought I was submissive and met a lovely couple at this the first club I went to, and I saw them doing needles on someone. I was like, oh, I like this. There's blood there. And went over and started talking to them. And they started doing needles on me regularly. Then went to another club and went, oh my God, I found my masochist side. Then went to a 101, learned how to do very basic stuff. And I was like, yep, this is what I want to do as a bottom. I'm happy doing that. Went to a 101 by this person again and went, hang on, I'm that person that I have people that judge me fairly quickly. I don't know why, but they just automatically just assume things about me. I went, no, I want to be that person that takes people that are sitting on the sidelines that want to experience needles but don't have that opportunity. So that's when I started topping and really enjoying it and getting a bit of a reputation as well. But I'm happy to work with anybody as long as they give consent, they're not drunk, and they're not taking any drugs of any kind. That's my little ethics that I have that I run by. So started doing that. My biggest achievement to date is I wanted to rush everything. It sounds negative, but it's kind of worked in my favor a little bit. I went from doing 22 gauges to myself, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Then all of a sudden go, oh, there's a thing called the low band. Back then it was a low bass. And dived straight from a 22 down to an 18. And then from an 18, I jumped down to an 8. So I was quite proud of myself that I was able to do that big jump in a very short amount of time. And I was doing I think it's my diamond low bass with my chosen brother. We had a competition
Yes.
of who could do it quicker. He was like, how are you doing this to yourself? I said, dude, I just go on autopilot with my self stabs. But my biggest achievement would be doing my hook suspension and doing getting two wonderful pieces of scarification from the Carney when he came down to Melbourne for the Oz Kink Fest. So I think, yeah, they're my biggest achievements, just doing my diamond low bass and just my hook suspension, because I wanted to do them even before I came into the community. I just was in awe of seeing people swinging from hooks going, I need to do this. How do I go about this? So I made it my mission. I need to find a way to do it. And I now have done two of them, and I'm absolutely thrilled to bits that I've done them.
That's amazing. So you seem very committed to this and very driven. So what is behind that passion for you? What keeps you so committed to these practices?
I think it's because I hold myself to a certain standard, and I've always been a person that's wanted to find a sense of belonging and community. And once again, when I first came in the scene, I identifying as a submissive, and I met a couple and they tried to mold me into being the perfect submissive, and I kept on saying, I don't know how I could submit to this D type. I don't feel it. What am I doing wrong? Getting told, oh no, your job on this earth is to make his life easier. You need to sacrifice yourself to make him happy. And I was just like, no, no. So when I found the Sharps community, it was so welcoming, and we're like one big massive family. So we have an event here in Melbourne called Pins and Needles that has only just started up recently. And it's just a small group of people with a love of sharps, and it is so I can't think of the right word. It's just amazing to be a part of it. Like, you go in, if you don't have something, you can say to somebody, oh, hey, do you have XYZ? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem, here you go. And it's no questions asked. It's just that we're here for the same purpose. We're all here for love. And yeah, so that's where it came from. I just wanted a community where I could actually feel like I actually was welcomed and wanted and be a part of, I guess. So that's what drives me, is that the fact that there's new people coming up, and the best way to teach them is, hey, I've made some mistakes along the way. You're bound to make mistakes. Everyone is going to make a mistake. You cannot say that you don't make mistakes, because if you do, you're a dickhead, in my opinion. Because everyone is going to make a mistake. So if you can learn from mine, and I can learn from yours, because I say to people, I'm still learning how to do sharps. I've been doing it now for 7 years, and well, as a top, and I'm still learning different things, because it's a community that constantly evolves, if that makes sense.
Oh, it absolutely does. And it's something that I think we'll always keep learning because one, everybody is different. And two, if I could just like the amount of information that I myself have learned, and I am a learner through and through, uh, just by opening to a more worldwide sharps community
Mm.
is insane. Just the situations, the differences in technique, the differences in availability and practice is just mind blowing. Things I would have never thought of. Just from region to region, country to country. It's,
Oh, definitely. Because that's what
yeah.
my mentor said. I think pre-pandemic, I still can't believe we can say that now. Pre-pandemic, we had a fellow sharps player. They came in and they were putting gloves on, and my mentor, am I allowed to name drop him? So then you get some mention, so you won't get all upset with me. So Das Uberdom is my mentor, and he was watching this person put on gloves, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And she's like, "Yeah, this is how we do it in a hospital setting. This is how we do put gloves on," and it was a new way that he'd never seen before. And he's been doing sharps for, I think, over 30 years now, and it's like, for somebody that's been doing it for 30 years, learning something new shows that we're not above not learning new ways or better ways to do things. Like, there's always going to be new practices, because the world's changing. Since we've had COVID, things have changed dramatically.
And I think it's really a beautiful thing for us to be able to learn and to share and to grow and to adapt to the way that things are going and growing. Again, you will probably hear me say this. If I've said it once, I've said it a billion times. Adaptive capacity is probably the most underrated skill set and quality in kink. It's just our
Oh,
ability to adapt and change.
and that's the way I look at things as well. Like, because I don't do the typical pretty designs that you see. My thing is more, I do chaotic beauty. So I'd never map out and go, okay, well, I'm going to do this pretty little flower here, and I'm going to do this little thing here. Mine's like, okay, well, if this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. I tend to sometimes back myself into a little corner sometimes. It's like, oh crap. Um, now, how am I going to do this without getting a needle stick? And just going, okay, so if I remove that and then put it there, yep, that works. I've tried to follow a design that I put on my phone. I still have it, just to remind myself how far I've come. And I look at it, and I look at how it translated, and it looks nothing like that at all. Because I've had to change it, going, oh, okay, so that didn't work on, basically, on skin, because skin is going to be skin. It will do what it wants to do when it wants to do it. And it also depends on the bottom as well. And I keep on saying that to people that, with needles, the gauges had the potential to scar. Like, you can say to somebody, oh no, no, you're not going to scar. But a 22 gauge may scar them. You just don't know.
Oh, for
But then,
sure.
because I saw someone in a thread say, "Oh no, no, I've used what they say? I think they said they used a 30 gauge, and that they said that they scarred really badly." And someone's like, "No, no, no, you can't scar from 30 gauge." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, you can."
Oh, unfortunately, not. You definitely can scar from pretty much anything, unfortunately, friends.
Oh, I say that to people, I'm like, because someone said to me, they're going, but you've done, what's the largest gauge you've done to yourself? I said, I've been about a 4. And I double picked it because I thought I need to challenge myself. I need to be able to see if I can do this. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, going, you're an idiot for trying to do it. I did it, did 4 of them, I think. And I looked at it and they're going, aren't you worried about scarring? I'm like, have you seen my boobs? They look like Swiss cheese.
Yeah, scars. Who's worried about scars? I do worry
So,
more about scars these days, given that I'm on medication and other things that make it worse. But no, you absolutely, the scar risk is always there, and we can never tell from day to
uh,
day.
and I always factor that into my negotiations, going, hey, if we're going to do X, Y, Z, whereabouts are you thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, get you want it on your boobs, please understand that it has a potential to scar.
Mm-hmm.
Or, okay, you want to wear, say, a wedding dress, for example. I had someone that was getting married and said, if we do it on your back, please understand you may scar. It's not me
Mm-hmm.
trying to say, no, 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 I don't want to do it. It's just me making you aware that you need to factor this into your risk profile. Because what's in mine may not be in yours.
Yep.
So I
And
think
it may
people
not.
forget that.
Best case
Um,
scenario, it doesn't. But worst case scenario, you should understand this. And if that's not within your risk profile, friend, then it is not an activity that you should be doing in that location.
and that's it. And that's what I say to people. It's not a case of like, oh, or it's a case of if you don't understand your risk profile, this isn't me saying no, we're not going to play. It's me telling you take a step back. I'm happy to basically call this a to be continued conversation, but please take a step back and look at what you're wanting to get out of what we're doing. B, do you understand that there are risks involved? Because there's so many things that you can mitigate. And like I've had so many doozy bottoms where I'm just like, what the hell? Like seriously. I had one who was playing we were playing quite happily and all of a sudden midway through he's gone, I think I need to go to the toilet. I'm like, well, I don't know how to do catheters. So is it a 1 or a 2? That's all I need to know. Don't tell me any more detail. I don't need to know what your habits are. And he said, oh, it's a number 2. I've had a really upset stomach all day. And I'm like, why did you say to me that you wanted to play? If you know you've had an upset stomach and you know that I'm not going to say no to you, like I could have, quite easily, once again, mitigated this and gone, okay, yep, cool, upset stomach, we'll do this another day. Done. Because now you have to factor in taking the needles out of how long that's going to take as well, which feeds into my other little ethic that I have where I use the traffic light system for safe words. And I always say to people, I don't like people saying red. I know it sounds like a bit of a red flag in itself, but it's a case of it. Green, you're doing really well. Yellow, you're getting
Mm-hmm.
towards your squicky end where you're like. Because if you go straight to a red, you haven't allowed that much time to take the needles out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather you get to a yellow before a red,
Yep,
if that makes sense. I sound
very much
preachy.
so.
Sorry.
No, no, you're good. I always tell people, shocker, I don't quote use safe words, but before you come at me, I use plain language communication and I use quote safe words to utilize shortcut communication within that plain language communication system.
And I say that to people as well. And the other thing I say to people is that you may say to me that you're green, but your body's telling me otherwise. Your body will never lie to me because you can tell when people are getting towards the end of their tether. Because I tend to watch people's breathing and just watch their faces as well because you can't lie about how your face is reacting. You can't lie about how your body's feeling because your body knows. Like your body is pretty smart sometimes. Sometimes it leads you astray, but 9 times out of 10, I'll always say, I'm going to call it. I'm going to start taking needles out. And then once they've regained composure, because I always like to have a bit of a debrief afterwards, that's my aftercare. And I explained, they're going, why'd you call it for? What? I was happy to keep going. I'm like, no, I could see that you were struggling. And the moment I can see you struggling, I know that you're pushing forward to impress me. You don't need to impress me. Being on the table is so much, like, you have no idea how impressed I am just to be on the table. Sort of thing, if that makes sense.
For sure. So it sounds like you do a lot of what here in the States we would call house topping or taster topping for our
Yeah.
folks.
I've had a few maskers that I've taken on, but then it's one thing or another that I've had one that just completely ghosted me after working with them for about 6 months, and no idea what happened. Came into contact last year again after I think 5 years, and they wanted to pretend like nothing had happened, that we could just step back into this dynamic, and it's like, no. I just don't want to put myself out there. So for the taster things, I love doing those because it's a good experience for people to see where they lie. Because I don't know how you see it. I see it as with needles, you either like it or you don't.
Absolutely, for sure. So what kind of tips would you have for individuals looking to get into more house topping or needle, yeah, you might call it service topping, quote service topping or house topping type needle or sharps experiences?
Um, I was very fortunate that when I started to top, we were very lucky that we were able to have workshops slash skill shares. So my biggest thing is that you want to learn as much as you can, ask the questions, because I don't, because I'm always happy, because if I'm bottoming, I'm very much in the moment. I can talk to people, I can laugh with people, and um, if you've seen some of my pictures, you've got Dud basically saying that I'm the only person he knows that can brat while getting hooks in their shins. And that's why I have a safe word with him. I have motherfucker banana. And like, yeah, so the quick story behind that is I was getting some hooks onto my forearms, and they were going to be connected to my shins because I love stuff on my shins, I've found out. And he had his back turned, he was getting a needle ready, and I have a crowd looking at me, and I tend to play to the crowd sometimes. I'm a bit cheeky like that. And the crowd looked at me, and I'm going, oh my God, the bad man's going to hurt me. Make him stop, he's going to hurt me, he's going to hurt me. And he's turned around and I'm like, Red. He's spun around. I was like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Keep going. So he called me a brat and said because of that, he doesn't trust me. Joke, joke, joke. He does trust me, but he said, now if you're in serious trouble, you need to say motherfucker banana. And I'm like, yep, cool. So because I'm cheeky, I now have to say motherfucker banana if I'm serious. Um, I know I shouldn't play around with it, but I know he can take it. But as a top, yeah, my biggest thing is that you need to learn, because I've seen so many people walk into clubs, they've gone onto the websites, ordered their needles, they've ordered all the things, and there's some that is so dangerous that I've seen. And when the Carney came out, he was doing a workshop for biohazard. I think it was like members, I can't remember what it was called, but it was something to the effect of how to safely set up your stuff in a club. And he said to me some of the stuff he has seen online is absolutely horrifying. And I just believe that education is the most important thing that you can ever do. We need more of it. We really do, especially with COVID, infection practices, and just people saying, oh no, if I use this needle, I can use it again. No, it's a one-time use thing.
Please don't do that, people. Please, please, please don't do
Like,
that.
I saw one picture, and there was someone that they were using absolutely rusty, disgustingly gross nails in I think it was someone's foreskin, and I was like, oh my God, I hope your tetanus is up to date.
Yeah, I kind of went on a whole ass rant about that and nailing into bone on with my nailing class this weekend. Um,
I need to, I need to, I need to read it because I had someone say to me a couple of weeks ago they wanted to nail the webbing of my fingers, and I was going, yeah, I'm down for that, but do you know what you're doing? Oh no, I've seen plenty of pictures. It just doesn't bother
no,
me. Like I'm
no,
fine. I'm like,
no, not the
no.
pictures, not the pictures.
It's like I was just saying to someone on Fet just before, saying that someone was trying to fat shame me, and they said that I need weight loss surgery and all the rest of it, and it was just horrid. And I've said to them I can do basically head removal from the arse surgery, but I need to watch YouTube to show me how to do it. And then they blocked me, and I'm like, well, it's the same as, watching YouTube saying how to do needle play. You can do that. I'm not trying to shame it because that's how some of us do learn, but you need hands-on experience. Workshops are great because I don't know how it works where you are. We had someone that was doing it, and they basically had, I think it was like an hour of just theory, and then I think it was like half an hour of practical work as well. And I found that really, really good because then you could talk to the person that was facilitating, going, hey, am I doing this right? Or how would you do this? And that's how I kind of got into topping as well. I was talking to Dad at, I think it was like 2 in the morning, going, so I'm wanting to do this. And if I do this, plus add this, how'd that work? And because I've been a big fan of his since I came into the community, he replied and he said, okay, so if you do this, this, and this is what will happen. I was like, oh, he replied, getting all excited. Then he offered to mentor me, and I've been so grateful because now I have that person that's been around for a while. I can bounce ideas off. I also had someone telling me, no, that's a stupid idea. Do not do that, Kylie. So yeah, it's quite fun. But education, 100%. That's the best thing I can offer to anyone that wants to get into topping. Education, and if you get a chance, have it done to yourself as well. So then you can give an honest feedback to your bottom. Because I say to people, look, I've had this done to me. This is how it felt for me. But how you experience things is different. But please understand that this is what it may feel like. So experience things on the other side of the slash as well. Don't just go, I'm a top, I don't do the bottom stuff. Because, yeah, I find, to me personally, that's a red flag. If you say, no, I'm not going to do that to myself, or I don't have that, I don't bottom, you should at least try something once.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Kylie, for taking the time to chat with us today. So, if folks wanted to get a hold of you to ask you any questions or see some of your work, how could they do that?
So I'm Bloodybloodslut on Fet. On Insta, I am Frozen Barbie 82, and I'm hoping that people get that reference because no, it's not a reference to Frozen. It's a reference to Dexter because I'm a very big fan of Dexter. But yeah, so just send me a DM first and just put in the subject line what sort of question it is, because I do get a lot of people asking to be castrated, and I tend to ignore those messages because people somehow forget that it is kind of permanent. That still tickles me. They think it's reversible. But yeah, so Frozen Barbie 82 on Instagram or Bloody Blood Slut on that.
Fantastic. And just as a reminder for listeners, of course, you can find our classes on infection control, infection prevention, microbes and pathogens, bloodborne pathogens, disinfection, sterilization, wound management, first aid, all of the above, and more, and all of that shit online. We have all of those resources. So please do go and look all of that up. Stay healthy, get your vaccines, don't use rusty nails, please.
Yes.
Please, I'm
I should
begging
also
you.
mention that a lot of my stuff is also if there's a lot of blood stuff, and that is hidden behind the friends only. So if you do, I tend to vet people as well with my friend requests
Mhm.
as well. So I just want to see if you got common interests and if we've got mutuals and everything as well. So yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
thank you so much. And again, thanks. And we're looking forward to having you all out for the rest of the summer of stabs and for more of our podcast. Thank you so much, listeners. And this is Ember signing out.
Bye.